Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, the Indiana women's basketball team comes up short against a top-ranked opponent.
And IU men's basketball beat reporter Zain Pyarali joins us live in studio to talk about the team's recent success. This is Hoosier Sports Night. Welcome to the season 15 premiere of Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Mary Kate Hamilton.
And I'm Michael Tilka. Indiana women's basketball has gotten off to a rough start in the Big Ten this season, and our beat reporter Austin Render tells us that turnovers and inconsistent play could be the reason why.
Indiana hosted number 10 ranked Ohio State Saturday afternoon, an undefeated 4-0 team in the Big Ten. While Indiana hung around throughout the game, Coach Morin was disappointed afterwards in turnovers, specifically unforced turnovers, which have been a recurring issue for the Hoosiers throughout this season.
The turnovers were self-inflicted. Had nothing, well, few of them had a little bit to do with Ohio State, but you can't catch an entry pass and drag your feet 3 times, your back foot. And you can't catch, again, off of a pin down screen and lift fake and travel. Those are things that are on us, on our players. They're not necessarily Ohio State.
Jalen Penn was just a point shy of tying her career high today with 20 points. However, Coach Morin is still searching for more consistency out of her freshmen, both Jalen Penn and Bendu Yaney. One
of the things you always talk about with your freshmen is just the consistency factor. Bendu was really good at Michigan off the bounce. Similar personnel, had a big, thumb, 6'6" on the inside. And then today she struggles. I think with Jalen, she's very promising as far as being in our program and being a kid that can score the ball. We just need her to be more consistent.
The Hoosiers look to correct their turnover and consistency issues as they take a road trip to take on Maryland Tuesday, January 16th at 7 o'clock.
And congratulations are in order for senior Tyra Buss, who in Indiana's road game at Penn State broke Denise Jackson's 1,917 career points record to become the all-time leading scorer in Indiana women's basketball history. Buss is now just 22 points away from 2,000 for her career.
Conference play for the Indiana men's basketball team is almost 1/3 of the way complete, and we have seen an increase in intensity level and chemistry on the defensive end. Here's Zain Pyarali with more.
Indiana had their best defensive performance of the season Sunday, defeating Northwestern 66-46 in their 3rd straight Big Ten win. The Hoosiers held the Wildcats to 24% shooting in the first half, with Juwan Morgan, Zach McRoberts, and Justin Smith all in foul trouble, but the bench stepped up and did their part.
I thought those guys did a good job. Freddie had really good moments in there. Justin ended up picking up 2, and Colin had to go long stretches. Clifton got in there, had a couple deflections and block shots. So we had a lot of guys step up. The perimeter guys, I thought, did a really good job of being sticky in terms of the ball pressure and the toughness that we needed.
Indiana was able to force 17 Northwestern turnovers as well as leading to 18 points and held them to shoot 7 of 25 from beyond the arc.
I definitely would say it's being more connected. When we out there, I could feel guys talking more, putting forth a better effort, trying not to let, the man to that right or to that left down. So I think we're more connected and there's better communication.
The Hoosiers held the Wildcats to 26.8% shooting today, and that tied the 2nd lowest mark in Indiana history since the 1996-1997 season, and also the 46 points allowed is the 3rd lowest mark in Big Ten play for IU since that season as well.
I think on the defensive end, this probably has been our best game thus far, and I think if we can build on that and continue to tighten a couple things up on the offensive side, we'll be in a good spot.
The Hoosiers also put together strong defensive stretches, going on a 13-0 run for over 7 minutes in the first half and a 25-2 run for over 7 minutes again in the second half. Let's see if the Hoosiers can keep their strong defensive play going Friday when they play at Michigan State. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Zain Pyarali.
As IU gets ready to face the top teams in the conference in the upcoming weeks, the Hoosiers will have to replicate this kind of effort if they hope to compete for a postseason berth.
Joining us now in studio to talk about this effort is our very own IUSTV and men's basketball beat reporter Zain Pyarali. Zain, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Michael. Always a pleasure.
Now, while we were away, Deron Davis suffered a season-ending Achilles injury in his left leg. How does this affect the Hoosiers going forward?
Well, obviously it affects them because Deron Davis is their biggest body, 6'10", him and Clifton Moore right up there. But physically, and wider too, he's a physical presence down low. And obviously it hurts them depth-wise because now their front court becomes that much slimmer and they become that much smaller. So guys such as, you see Indiana play like 3-guard sets where they have a bunch of guys that are 6'3", or smaller out there, and then you have Colin Hartman and Juwan Morgan as well. There's not a whole lot of size out there. So other guys are going to have to step up as well. We saw Justin Smith in the Minnesota game, the first game without Deron Davis, step up. Him, Juwan Morgan, and Robert Johnson combined for 68 of the 75 points. So really guys are going to have to step up, and they have so far.
Yeah, like you said, stepping up. The Hoosiers have actually gone 3-0 in the Big Ten since Deron's injury. Do you think IU can sustain this sort of small ball success that they've been having?
Well, I think they can. I mean, it's going to be kind of tough, but I'll show you a couple plays here why they're going to be able to. So right here we see Devontae Green, 6'3", going up against Vic Law, who's 6'7", and he's not afraid of the height differential. You see him follow him up to the top of the key. Great defensive stance right here by Devontae Green. He uses those quick hands, get the ball loose, goes the other way, picks up the foul, and goes to the free throw line. So it's really all about having quickness, and that's what they are right now. And you see Devontae Green here off the ball. Now Derek Parton's going to set a screen on Al Durham. Freddie McSwain is going to double team, and look how much room there is to drive to the lane for Derek Parton. Devontae Green was over here on this X. Now he shifts all the way over to the lane, knocks the ball loose before Parton can catch it cleanly. It's all about being quick, even though they're undersized, takes it the other way. Hoosiers get points off turnovers. Now this next play, Devontae Green guarding Scotty Lindsey down here at the bottom of your screen. Slowly shifts over to the middle of the lane when Falzon drives in. You see Colin Hartman guarding him, hands up in the air. Devontae Green, he just gets a paw on that ball. The quick hands, once again, causes the turnover for Indiana. And now on this last play, back here in the low post, on the low block, 6'7" Vic Law against 6'3" Devontae Green. Law tries to gain position, loses his footing a little bit, and now whenever he finally regains his position, look how far away off of the low block he is than he originally wanted to. Devontae Green reads that bounce pass easily like a cornerback in football, picks it off, forces another turnover for Indiana. So as long as they keep playing with that quickness like they have been and like Devontae Green showed against Northwestern, they'll be in good shape.
Now, we haven't seen this great Indiana basketball so far this season. Indiana currently sitting with an 11-7 record. How would you sort of evaluate this first half of the season for the Hoosiers?
Well, if you asked me this before the Notre Dame game, I would have said that it's been kind of up in the air. But ever since then, it's been a success. And other than the Fort Wayne game where they lost by 20, gave up 17 threes, ever since Notre Dame, this team has looked much better, and they've turned it up defensively. They still can't shoot the ball very well, but I think as time goes on, they'll be able to. And last game against Northwestern was very encouraging, holding them to 46 points. And now moving forward, they have to take that momentum. They've won 3 straight, have to move forward now, coming up at Michigan State, which is going to be really tough.
Yeah, and then just looking sort of ahead, looking at the second half of the season for the Hoosiers, do you see sort of a strong finish and eventually a berth into the NCAA tournament?
Well, I mean, we can hope so. I mean, if they keep playing the way that they did, holding teams to 46 points, I think this is a pretty good shot. But against Michigan State, this is going to be their first really tough test, especially without Deron Davis in a hostile environment in East Lansing. And it's going to be tough, Michael. It really will. But moving forward, they play Michigan State, they play Ohio State, they play Maryland, all these teams that are at the top of the Big Ten, better than them or as good as them. So if they get some marquee wins here and finish up with 18, 19, 20 wins, there might be a NCAA tournament berth in their future.
Fantastic. Thank you once again, Zain, for joining us. And to keep up with Zain and Indiana men's basketball news, be sure to follow at IUSDV Sports on Twitter and Facebook.
IU men's tennis began its 2018 season with victories at the IU Tennis Center over both Ball State and Eastern Illinois. Our Juan Alvarado has the story.
The IU men's tennis team is 2-0 following a successful first weekend of competition, defeating both Ball State and Eastern Illinois in front of the Hoosier fans. Following an unexpected doubles point loss, IU, with senior Rahil Manji as its leader, stepped on the gas and won all of its single matchups to come back and set its momentum going forward. The Hoosiers won this matchup 6-1.
That's a great thing about team tennis is you know, you have your teammates to kind of bring you back up need be, and that's our responsibility, especially when, you know, especially when we become upperclassmen, to be able to make sure that your other guys are doing okay and are focusing on the right things inside of their match.
Later on the day, IU faced Eastern Illinois inside of IU's indoor facility. And once again, the Hoosiers dominated, both in singles and doubles, to beat the Panthers 7-0.
You know, I felt like the level that we could play at definitely could be higher, and we should expect that from ourselves. And I felt like they on a lot of courts we did that and took care of the sets. So that was awesome for the guys.
Wordsman also said it is too soon to mark IU's season goals, and that instead the Hoosiers will be focusing one match at a time. Reporting for IUS TV Sports, I am Juan Alvarado.
Up next, IU will go on the road to match up against Memphis and will not be back in Bloomington until February 2nd when they face Dartmouth.
With the new year upon us, one of the resolutions we made is to go to more Indiana athletic events and earn more Crimson Guard points.
Here are the events you can attend to earn those Crimson Guard reward points. When Hoosier Sports Night continues, a pair of Hoosiers are on their way to playing professional soccer.
And the Indiana men's and women's swimming and diving teams maintain their dominance in the pool. You're watching Hoosier Sports Night.
Two important Hoosier soccer players made news when they decided to continue their careers at the next level of competition. Over the past few weeks, Grant Lillard and Mason Toye have announced that they're heading to the MLS.
He's a phenomenal player. He keeps proving it game after game. We're lucky to have him, and he's going to do big things for us moving forward in this tournament.
He's obviously just a super calm and cool and collected guy. He's not one of those leaders that's gonna, you know, shout and yell all the time, which is pretty awesome. I'm so happy I'm here. So I'm happy I made the decision to come here. He leads by example, and he's really been awesome to play with.
It's nice to get recognized like that. Our team defending has been wonderful this year, and that isn't just because of me, it's because of a lot of other guys on our team that have been contributing to that.
We've always had a strong, steady defense. I think this team defense has shown to be special amongst our years, and that gives me a lot of confidence as a coach.
Obviously, this year is my last chance at it, so there's the last effort. You know, this is all I have pressure on me. So, but I mean, I enjoy that. It makes it more fun.
Senior, you just know this is your last go-around.
Him being smart, you know, you just look to him and you're like, all right, he's gonna make the correct play, and you want to make the correct play as well.
We hadn't really been tipped off on Mason yet, and then once we started to dig into his past, certainly he has a good background. He's a phenomenal kid. He wants best for a team first and foremost, even though he's got tremendous talent. That's the type of kid at that level that we immediately are attracted to.
As long as we're winning, that's all that matters to me.
He's moving off the ball, he's finishing. He's got 9 goals this year, you can't really compete with that.
If I scored and we didn't win, then it wouldn't mean anything. So as long as I'm making a difference for the team positively and we can get a result, then that's all that matters to me.
coming into this, I couldn't imagine it being like this and going so well. So I'm just going to try to live in the moment right now.
What a fantastic find by Coach Roby.
Coach Yeagley's always said, we need to live in the moment, be happy with the results that we get, and then we move forward and we look on to our next test.
It's where you get to make your mark on the season and what you get remembered for. It's just the best part.
Lillard's future is sure as he has already signed a homegrown contract with Chicago Fire, but Toye is still waiting to see where he'll end up. The MLS Super Draft kicks off Friday at 11 a.m., and Toye is projected to be a top 10 pick by multiple outlets.
Indiana football announced some new staff changes heading into the 2018 season. Our Joe Canner has a breakdown of the new guys on campus.
I'm outside the Mellencamp Sports Pavilion, where after a disappointing end to the 2017 football season, Indiana football has its eyes peered toward the future. Head coach Tom Allen announced 3 new hires to his staff.
Very excited about some changes we made in our program here at Indiana with our football team, and going to announce 3 individuals today. 2 will be here with us to be able to answer questions here from you in a few minutes. But Dave Ballou here in the back is going to be our new strength and conditioning coach in charge of that area. And then Kane Womack is going to be our new linebackers coach. And Dr. Matt Ray is also going to be in the strength and conditioning program as specialist in speed development.
Allen says both hires, Ballou and Womack, will be integral to the Hoosiers' success next season, as far as staying healthy and replacing key linebackers Chris Covington and Tigray Scales, the heart of Indiana's defense.
I'm not sure that you can replace 1 for 1 or 2 for 2 with guys like Tigray and Chris Covington. I've got a chance to watch the film and the impact that they left in terms of production, but also leadership and the style and the physicality and violence that they played with was something that was pretty impressive. My hope is that when you turn on the tape after the 2018 season and kind of see the culmination of our linebacker play is that our execution won't drop off and that collectively will produce to the same level that those 2 players did.
Ballou said he will be applying the same technique he used at the University of Notre Dame in coaching here at IU, but that coming home was an easy decision.
It's good to be back home. I consider this home. Grew up in Indianapolis, but, I was fortunate enough to get a chance to come to school here, play here, met my wife here, so we consider Bloomington our home, and I love this university. So when Tom called, we were hard at work up in South Bend trying to get that thing going, and then when Tom called, it was a no-brainer for me to get a chance to come back to this program and have an integral role in helping this program be successful was a no-brainer to me.
Tom Allen continues to leave his personal imprint on the Hoosiers football program. And even though it's likely to be a very different looking Hoosiers team in 2018, Allen says the mission remains the same.
The second signing period is coming up here in February, a little bit different schedule than we've had in the past. The bottom line is that we don't have a lot left to do. Going to emphasize recruiting 2019 class members for our future. That's going to be the emphasis over the next several weeks.
Reporting for IUS TV Sports, I'm Joe Canner.
The Hoosiers won't be back in Memorial Stadium until Saturday, April 14th for the annual Cream and Crimson game. Be sure to follow us at IUS TV Sports for all your IU football news.
Track and field is well into their indoor season and traveled south to Lexington last weekend for the Kentucky Invitational. The Hoosiers finished the weekend with 6 first-place finishes. The men took home first place in the weight throw, the 800 meters, the mile, and the triple jump. Weight thrower Andrew Miller broke the IU record previously set by himself with a throw of over 21 meters.
On the women's team, first place finishes were taken home in the 800 meters and the mile. In fact, Indiana swept the first 3 places in the 800 meter race and the first 5 places in the mile. Looking ahead, the teams will compete in the Gladstein Invitational right here in Bloomington on Friday and Saturday. The men's and women's swim and dive teams traveled to Ann Arbor this past weekend as they took on a very strong Michigan team. Both the men's and women's matchups featured battles of top 10 teams. The number 4 ranked Hoosier men took down the 8th ranked Wolverines, but the 10th ranked IU women were defeated by number 4 Michigan.
The IU divers for both teams were dominant as they swept all 4 events with 2 wins from Jessica Parado, 1 from Michael Hickson, and 1 from James Conner. With their win, the men's team continues their perfect season with a 7-0 record, while the women's loss drops them to 3-4.
Both teams will be back home on Saturday morning to face rival Purdue on Senior Day.
That does it for this episode of Hoosier Sports Night, but don't forget to like our page, IUS TV Sports, on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IUS TV Sports. For Michael Tilka, I'm Mary Kate Hamilton, and we'll see you next week.